The 2025 NBA Draft is almost here, and while this year's class may not have the superstar buzz that we've seen in past years, it is loaded with a ton of intrigue, from Cooper Flagg's potential to a pair of first-round picks for the Brooklyn Nets that they've got two in the top 14 to what the Knicks might do at number 50. So to break it all down, I'm joined by somebody who knows the draft room and scouting prospects inside and out. As former NBA scout Michael Vandegarde, who spent over 17 years evaluating talent at the highest level. He's seen the misses, the steals, the grind that goes into building a roster throughout the draft. And Michael is here with me now. Mike, great to have you here. How you doing?
I'm doing great today. My son's had AAU games all day long, and now I'm, getting ready to watch some NBA finals. So everything is great today.
That's great. All right, so we want to get back to watching that game. So let's just dive right into it with this draft class. And when we look at this year's draft class, Mike, from a scout's perspective, what defines this 2025 draft class, and how does it stack up in terms of overall talent compared to recent years?
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is the draft of Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg has been talked about since Victor Wembanyama as the next big thing. And I would totally agree with that. He's exceeded expectations while he's been at Duke. Everything that we've seen about him, says he's going to be a great player. He's going to be an elite NBA player. But then getting back to the overall draft in general, I'm excited about the first 8 to 10 picks. And then I think the draft lacks a little bit of depth. There's going to be some guys past 8 or 10 late lottery, that are going to be diamonds in the rough. You're going to find some hidden gems, but this draft's all about Cooper Flagg. And then I think the first 8 or 10 picks.
All right, Cooper Flagg and the first 8 to 10 picks. Let's go back to Flagg here because we know the skill set with him. Versatile defender, we saw that at Duke, a good shot maker, high IQ forward, can handle the ball as well too. But how high is his ceiling in the NBA, and what type of franchise cornerstone can he realistically become, or what the Mavericks, who have the number one pick, would hope that he could be for them?
Yeah, I think he's special. Actually saw him for the first time live when he was a sophomore. And within 10 minutes, I said to myself, he's the best sophomore that I've ever seen. I gotta say, I didn't see LeBron James when he was a sophomore, so don't jump on me for that. But he's the best sophomore that I had ever seen at that time. And people forget, he reclassed. He's technically supposed to be a high school senior this year, and he would be a college freshman next year. So being as young as he is, to exceed the expectations he did at Duke, being the national player of the year, is almost, only a few other guys have ever done that at the collegiate level as a freshman. I would project he's going to be an elite scorer at his position. He's going to be an elite rebounder at his position. I'd project he's an elite defender at his position. If you get one of those things, you're a heck of a player. If you get two of those things, you're special. If you're three of those things, the sky's the limit. So, Cooper Flagg is everything, you want in a prospect, and there's no guarantees, but man, he's about as good as they come.
All right, as good as they come. Very high praise for Cooper Flagg. We'll see how that all pans out with him. Expected to go to Dallas with that number one pick. I want to talk to you about some local teams here. The Brooklyn Nets, they're intriguing. They've got 2 picks in the top 14. You talked to me about how you like the top 8 to 10 of this draft. The Nets do have a roster in flux. If you're in that Nets war room, what's the strategy with picks 8 and 14? Are there guys you would target to jumpstart a rebuild, or is there guys you'd even move up for if you're the Nets?
Yeah, I'd be really excited about that pick number 8. I think there's going to be a really, really good player there. I think you find some really high upside guys. Jeremiah Fears, even Ace Bailey. There's some real question marks about what's going on with, Ace Bailey and where he's going to fall in the draft. And then there's a couple other high upside guys, VJ Edcombe, and so on. I don't expect a few of those guys to be there at 8, but it wouldn't surprise me if one of them's there at 8, and I'd be super excited. The Nets are absolutely, looking for their next star, and I think you need to swing for the fences and take the guy with the most upside. I do think there's some really solid players, that can build out a roster at 14, but I'd be a little bit nervous that I'm going to find my next superstar at 14. You could obviously package those picks and try to move up. There's not a lot of opportunity there because there's some other teams that are looking for their superstars as well. But maybe Philly, Maybe the Pelicans, they have some established superstars if they can get them healthy. And even the Utah Jazz, Danny Ainge is always looking to make a deal. So there's definitely going to be some intrigue in those picks, but I think they could get a heck of a player and maybe a budding superstar at 8.
Yeah, that's intriguing what they could get at 8. And I misspoke. Sorry, they're not 14. They have a pick at 19. So 8 and 19.
Oh, sorry about
8
that.
and 19. That was me. I misspoke on that. But they do have 8 and 19. And 19, like you said, you might not be able to find a superstar there. But I wonder if the Nets would want to try to package the two of those together, maybe move up. I know there's been some interest in VJ Edgecombe and others that you mentioned. So Nets are in a pretty interesting spot there, Michael. Now, I want to talk about the Knicks. They don't have a first-round pick. They're picking at number 50, not a spot where you usually find rotation guys, but we've seen the Knicks have some smart drafting before, particularly in the second round. Who are some names that you think might be available late in the second round that fit what the Knicks might be trying to do next year? Because still a lot unknown. We don't know who the coach is going to be, but are there some names that you think they could get at 50 that could fit, winning culture that they have right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It will be really interesting to see what direction they go with the new coach and new staff and everything like that. But a guy that I love that I would be targeting for them is a guy named Michael Peavy. He's a Duncanville High School kid. His dad's a coach there. Duncanville High School is one of the premier, public schools in the nation. They're always competing against the best prep schools in the country. Michael Peavy played his last year here at Georgetown. Every year his scoring has gotten better. Every year his shooting's got better. He was shooting 40% from 3 on 4 attempts a game, but he's just a grinded out winner. He understands the game. His mom and dad and brother all played college athletics and college basketball. So I really think he could be, an absolute great player you can get in the late second round, and he would fit Nick culture to a T because how hard it is to make it at this level.
Oh, it is indeed. He can shoot the ball there. His name has come up, I've seen, on a couple of draft boards. The Knicks could take him there with the 50th pick. Final thing for me here, Michael, who's the one player in this draft that you feel maybe isn't getting enough buzz right now? Maybe a guy that you believe could outperform his draft position and make teams regret passing up on him. Who's that guy for you?
Yeah, I was thinking about this a little bit today. Ryan Kalkenbrenner, the guy at Creighton. There's a lot of these 7-footers, with length that can protect the rim, and he's one of the most agile ones of the bunch. He was 4-time Big East Player of the Year or Defensive Player of the Year, so he's a rim protector. He's got great length, and he's starting to show that he can really shoot the basketball. I know at the combine he really shot it well from the 3-point line, and he actually shot it in the mid 30% for his senior year. So he's a guy that I really think somebody in the 18 to 28 range is really going to like the possibility of him being a great backup center. And if he gets bigger and stronger, he can definitely be a guy that could maybe be a starting center in the league someday. And then the other name I'll mention is Dink Pate. He was highly regarded a couple of years ago. He went to the G League. He's one of the youngest kids in the G League, and he's played there, and he's gotten better over his 2 years. And I know he signed a big deal with Reebok. So, Shaq and Allen Iverson were all excited about him back in the day too. So he's a guy I would definitely keep my eye on that's, projected to go late second round or not drafted at all.
All right. Keep your eyes on those guys. It's going to be a fun night. NBA draft going down Wednesday night at the Barclays Center. We'll see if teams make some good picks. Some are going to make some bad picks. It always happens every year. But that is Michael Vandegarde, former NBA scout, 17 years of experience, breaking down the draft with me here. Mike, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and we'll talk down the road. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great evening.
You too.